Hi everyone. I feel like you're going to get a tour of my house based on where I'm recording. It just changes depending on what's happening in my home. This lecture is for week 6 that starts October 22nd. Yes, 22nd and ends Saturday, October 27th. I do want to preface this when I'm recording. My son is upstairs right now, so if you hear him, I'll pause it and help him and then come back. So real quick for week 6, we're continuing the first 2 years of development. It's so right here, week 6, the psychosocial part. This will be the last week of the first 2 years, and then we'll move into early childhood. So about ages 3 through 6 during week 7, 8, and 9. So for this, let me pull up the schedule and scroll down to week 6 right here. It's a lighter week. It's a little bit of a lighter week. So you have the reading check for chapter 7, the chapter 7 Dear Abby, and then the chapter 7 reflective journal. Hopefully, as we're going through the weeks now, you're understanding a little bit more of the assignments and how they are the same each week. You'll notice for week 6, reading chapter 7, that there's no collaborative quest for this week. So we finished up the first set of collaborative quests last week, and then groups 3 and 4 will share their presentations next week. So you don't have to worry about that this week. That's off your plate, and we'll work on that next time. Okay, so let me go back to here. I am viewing this as a student, so you should be able to see this. Here's the questions and conversations discussion board if there's any specific questions that you have. Otherwise, you're going through each of these pages. Here's the reflective journal to download. And there's just it's a few screens or a few pages this time. There's emotional development. You're going to be watching this video on Happiest Toddler. This follows Happiest Baby on the Block too, which is a great resource. If this coincides with your parenting style, then it's a great resource. And then the next one is on development of social bonds. This was touched on a little bit last week in the observations and development assignment when you watched a video on Mary Ainsworth and the attachment. This is also a great continuing that conversation on attachment and how we can help our children have a secure attachment. One of the journal questions is going to ask you, or one of the Dear Abby letters talks about children in a child care setting and how to help promote a healthy bond between a caregiver and a child, even though they may not have a healthy bond in the home. So we want children to have a secure attachment. If we see an insecure attachment, that doesn't mean that all is lost. There's plenty of time to help promote trust and open communication with the child. However, I will say that an insecure attachment could be a sign of problems at home. It doesn't mean that. If you see a child with an insecure attachment, don't call 911, but definitely keep your eyes aware and your mind aware that to look for any other signs that you may see. If there is trust in the home and love and empathy, then most of the time they have a secure attachment. Looking forward of why this matters. So I worked at a residential treatment center in Utah, and we had several, so it was with children ages 8 to 13 was the unit I was on. I was a recreational therapist, and we had several individuals diagnosed with RAD, which is reactive attachment disorder. And so what had happened is, for the most part, is these children were raised in homes where there was an insecure attachment. There was very little touching, hugging, love, the typical things that we think of in a childhood. What I do with my 5-year-old, give her a hug, tell her good things about herself, spend time with her, play with her, engage with her. Those things were absent in this individual's life during the first several years of her formative years. And what that created, or what that led to, was this RAD diagnosis, what we call it, reactive attachment. So she was willing to trust therapists. She would work with us to create a bond, but once she felt that bond was too close, within a professional setting, but once she felt susceptible to trust or vulnerable to trust, she would react and she would fight against it. And so she would get very close to engaging in an appropriate relationship and an appropriate bond with us as an adult. But then once she got a glimpse of, oh, this is too close for my comfort level, she would react in a negative manner. And then we would see the aggression start to come out. And so unfortunately, if they fail to find that secure attachment in the early years, it can be difficult later on in life. It carries with them. Now, many people are able to find coping skills or work through those problems as they age. Unfortunately for some, that they will continue to struggle with that attachment even as adults when they're looking at long-term relationships, intimate relationships with spouses, that there may be some coping skills or some issues that they work out at that point later in life. So we teach this because it's not only applicable to a 2-year-old, but it's also applicable to a 22-year-old, that what happened when they're 2 does play an impact on what happens when they're adults, and also teenagers and later in life. So that sums up a little bit of the social bonds and why we study it. I want you to know it's just not making you watch some videos, that there's importance behind it. There's the reading check and then the Dear Abby letters. You'll notice on the Dear Abby letters, this was the same for last week, they have added the green box to submit. If one of these boxes doesn't ever work, I think last week one of them didn't work, you can also always go to assignments and submit them there. That's always an option. As always, let me know what questions you have. I'm happy to help. I will still be traveling. I get back on Tuesday, but I'll have access to everything. So send me an email, call, text me, whatever you need, and I will be there to respond. Good luck, everyone.